So in this video, we're going to go over 5 mistakes I made when I started my Airbnb business that cost me money and could have been avoided. So every mistake on this list is avoidable. These are real mistakes, not theoretical, not cautionary tales from other operators. These are 5 decisions that cost me real money, and the fixes were simple and the order matters. So we're going to get into it all now. Mistake number 1 was I picked up a property I liked instead of the market I researched. So when you're going through properties and you're looking at them, you're going to see ones that maybe you have a personal preference to, like there's something in the apartment or some sort of feature or the house that like appeals to you and you're like picturing yourself living there. That is wrong. You're letting emotion take over there. You need to do what's going to make the maximum amount of money, okay? Because this is a business. This isn't for you to like live in forever. This isn't your forever home. This is a property that you are going to acquire, whether through management fee or guaranteed rent, that you want as an investment to make you money. So you need to take out the semantics of it, the emotion out of it. This is about making money. So what happens? So seasonal demand dipped and you anticipate a strong summer and then it's a weak autumn. The guest profile didn't match what's going to be the best paying and what's going to make the most money. So you're going to get leisure guests, thin demand. And then another big thing, and I've made this mistake, is you take on a unit in a building and there is like 10 other Airbnbs in this building, all with the same apartments. You are, shouting in a bigger room there. Your listing has to stand out even more because it's competing with all listings that already exist with lots of reviews and maybe the better rooms in the building. So that's kind of what happened to me. And the occupancy basically is below the projections and it's slower to get their review build because like, why would they book your apartment when there's one identical with 10 more reviews, or all 5-star exactly. So, that means you have to then start lowering the rates and things like that. So what's the lesson here? Don't let your emotions take over. Don't be semantic. This is comparing properties and doing your proper research and getting one that's going to make you the most money. Okay, so city, where does demand support year-round yields? Manchester, year-round. Some of my best months are December Christmas markets, November with music festivals and stuff like that, warehouse project, you get people come for like a long weekend, and then in the week you get the business travellers. Suddenly people aren't going to Europe anymore because the weather's not as good there, so they're doing more staycations. More, and leading up to the end of the year, the business builds up, picks up for Christmas. So, September, families come to see their uni students in the first year, things like that. So a city where it has demand that supports year-round yields, like Manchester. The area, so what area? You want city centre because it's more convenient. That's where the amenities are. That's where the train stations are. That's what attracts the demand. Property type, so bigger apartments, they cater to more guests, okay? If you've got an apartment with 2 massive bedrooms, I say this all the time to you guys, get 2 double beds in there. You're suddenly catering for 8 people with 2 double beds and 2 bedrooms. Instead of catering for 4 people, you're going to earn more money, aren't you? And your rent's going to be the same, or your management fee, you're going to earn your client more money, so you're going to make more money. Okay, so property type and the unit, okay? And like I say, the appeal of the unit, what different things that unit can offer that you can then use to maximize your yields. So you just need to pick a property that you've done your research and is going to make you the most money. Now, within the host handbook, we do have the host handbook here in its current form. And we have a deal analyzer tool here where you can put in your links from Rightmove, OpenRent, and you can get all the metrics in here. And then you can compare the different numbers, compare the different deals, and go for one that's going to make you the most money. Back to the presentation. So that's mistake number 1, picking the wrong property. So mistake number 2 is I set my first property at a low nightly rate, okay, and I didn't originally integrate dynamic pricing and using software like PriceLabs. So you want to, from day 1, integrate these systems, okay? It's going to reduce your workload and it's going to mean you don't leave money on the table. So the mistake I made, obviously setting it to a low nightly rate, I thought, low nightly rate, undercut people, get them reviews in, which is good because it does get you reviews and people in the reviews are saying, oh, this is great value. But then when you start whacking up the prices because you want to be more, earn more money, obviously then you're less competitive on the price point, and all the people that originally were booking were saying how great value it is. Now you're contradicting yourself. So the costs, yeah, so I set it as a fixed nightly rate, and obviously the weekends make a lot more money. So I was missing out on them nightly rate. I was missing out on them local events and things like that, demand spikes and stuff, because it was just not being coordinated with dynamic pricing software. You know, the pricing was all the same, whether it's last minute, 6 weeks out. You know, there was no discounts for like longer stays, things like that. So a big mistake is you need to integrate from day one, and this is the fix, dynamic pricing, which is going to give you real-time demand signals in the market. It basically sucks up all the data from all the properties, and from that it knows what the occupancy level is and it adjusts your rate accordingly. I've said it before in other videos, how like airline flights, you know, work. When people start booking loads of flight tickets, like all the airlines know, oh my God, something must be going on here because suddenly loads of people are coming. World Cup, you're flying into America, then prices are going to be sky high. Not because it's them, someone manually doing it, it's because people know certain days and certain times when they want to fly from certain locations, and all the airlines automatically use dynamic pricing. So, you know, this is simple, it's cheap. Like for your first property, here is PriceLabs, what's pricing, you know, first property here, you know, you're looking at $20. Like you're going to make that back in a few days, if not in one day, in one stay. So you need to integrate that. That's mistake number 2. Mistake number 3 is replying to guests. So, you know, this can take up a lot of your time. If you don't integrate automated messages, you know, AI guest messaging, things like that, you're going to lead to a burnout trap. And this is basically going to cause inconsistency, message quality. If someone's messaged you late at night, you're going to be in a worse mood. You know, I had reviews when I started beginning saying I was rude, but that was just because I was fed up with people. Like with Airbnb, some of your guests aren't the brightest bulb in the room, and they're going to ask questions that have been like, you know, obvious. So, you know, your own personality and like frustration at them can come out. So you want to avoid this, you know, inconsistency, delayed responses, lifestyle erosion. You know, I had it one time. I was in a beach club in South France, and I'm having an argument with my guest, and there's DJ and there's like people jumping in the pool and stuff. And I'm just like, ruins your day, okay? It's going to erode your lifestyle. You know, we're setting up this business because we want you to have freedom and we want you to live your life. You need to integrate automated guest messages and AI comms, okay? That's the system. And when you're doing everything manually, your scalability is almost impossible because you're handling these, you know, check-in questions, Wi-Fi passwords, late arrivals, early checkouts, whatever. So what we do is we integrate the system, okay? AI comms, you can set this up. We've got loads of things in the paid course, and I've touched about it on the free course of ways you can integrate AI that just handles everything, okay? So it has like an info deck about your property. When the messages come in, it just pulls from that and sends it to them, okay? Obviously, within your channel manager, you can have automated messages. So things like checkout instructions going out a few hours before they arrive, when they book, basic details, parking, etc. You know, Google Maps link the directions, etc. You integrate all them systems, you're suddenly reducing that workload, okay? You know, the pre-bookings automated, guest communication, went over it all. Here's some of the tools you can use to have this system integrated. I use Uplisting. Mistake number 4 is walking into your first landlord call with no preparation, okay? If you've got no data, no report, the landlord's going to say no, and it is entirely your fault, okay? Because you're unprepared, you're unprofessional, and they're probably going to talk to a few people that do short let management. Okay, there's a lot of companies out there, it's getting a bit more competitive, you need to stand out, and you're going to stand out for all the wrong reasons if you're not prepared. So this is not having property data. couldn't tell the landlord what the property could earn, so you haven't used your valuation report, okay? You know, in the host handbook, my paid members get a valuation assessment where they can fill out all the data of the property that they are approaching the landlord for, and it uses these details and pulls on the back end what occupancy and nightly rates it's looking at, and it develops a beautiful PDF report with your brand on. Okay, so you click branding here, you set up your company name, logo, etc., and it's going to give you a beautiful PDF report that you can then pass the landlord. Ultra professional, looks amazing. That's what you need to be doing, okay? So valuation report, you haven't got it. Pitching from need rather than value. You need to present yourself as solving their solutions. You need to know what their issue is. Oh, they've had nightmare tenants. Well, we are going to do this, that, and that, and you're going to have these sort of tenants, etc. So you need to have, I've done a video on it, watch the video about how to negotiate, how to speak to them, what to say, what pain points to press on, and just follow a good script, okay? And it's just going to result in the landlord saying no because you can't handle them objections. So pre-call, I want you to have a valuation report PDF. If you don't want to have my one, make your own one, okay? Get a PDF editor for free and make something, do your research, pull up screenshots of properties in that area, and then go on their calendar on Airbnb and you can see what the nightly rates they're getting, and you can do the maths, times it by 30 and know what the monthly is, okay? Yeah, so Rightmove, Airbnb research, do all them nightly rates, etc. I just talked about. 3 objection handlers, be prepared, be rehearsed. You know what the main objections are, we cover it in another video. You know, like issues with guests, how much are they going to earn, etc. So just have your opening lines and really explain to them the benefit, and it's not a request, okay? So I made that mistake, not being prepared, and that's why I built all these systems out, and they were doing really well for me, and now obviously I offer them out to you guys. So mistake number 5 is I spent months watching YouTube videos, joining Facebook groups, watching Reels on Instagram, right? As you know, some of you will know, my background was in e-commerce. I was doing amazing in e-commerce and I wanted to diversify my business, okay? And literally one day, a bit like how I started in e-com, scrolling, and it came up with some guy who was killing it and had loads of units in Birmingham, and I was like, well, I could do that in Manchester. So, you know, I started doing research in the model. I got stuck in that consumption trap, okay? And when you're stuck in that consumption trap, you've got nobody really to show you the roadmap, okay? There's no accountability, no sequencing, no one to ask, you know, no filter. You know, if you're looking at content from years ago, it might not be applicable in 2026, and you've got the time cost there, okay? So the turning point was just getting a roadmap, getting a mentor, having somebody that would keep me on that step-by-step process of what I need to do first, second, and what mistakes I need to avoid, and hold me accountable to myself and stop me just consuming and overloading myself with content and giving me a clear plan, okay? So here are 5 different mistakes I've made. They've all got one root cause, and every single one of them came with the same thing. The right information at the wrong time is useless, guys, okay? The right information at the right time is everything. So knowing beforehand you pick your city, you avoid that costly mistake. Introducing strategic pricing from day one, you're avoiding all that lost earnings, okay? And you're gonna break even quicker, and you're gonna go on to make more money, okay? Eliminating that manual guest communication, automated comms, and using your channel manager for automated messages, integrating AI solutions to that. Just setting up your systems from day one, you're reducing your workload, it allows you to scale your business, okay? Being unprepared in your landlord calls, you know, not having your evaluation tool, your research and your objection handlers, then, you know, you're just gonna be wasting, especially if you're spending money on meta ads, you're just gonna be wasting your time in these calls, okay? You need to be prepared and have the info. You know, when you get to my level, you have a full CRM with nudges, follow-ups, different tools, different things just ready to go, okay? So I'm not expecting you to have all that, but being prepared for your landlord call. You know, now I've told you it, you've got the right information at the right time, okay? You're not gonna make costly mistakes. And just don't learn from just free content alone, because there's stuff that is up here that you're just not going to ever get in a YouTube video, okay? And you're just not going to get, you need to actually run the business, and I've encountered everything, believe me, you know, having a proven system and a roadmap is just the game changer, guys, okay? So it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. So every mistake I've just told you about is one that I've made that you don't have to, okay? So if you've made mistakes, drop me a message and I can definitely put you in the right direction. You know, subscribe because I'm gonna have more videos coming. Let me know what you want me to cover, whether it's tax, dealing with cleaners, etc. Let me know, because I'm open to make more videos about this. And if you want to take the next step, join the free course where I've got a full breakdown video and lots of different modules about different things where I go into more in depth. And obviously I do have my full paid VIP membership program where I work one-on-one with you and we build your business together. So I hope you like the video, like, subscribe and follow me on Instagram.